with author Sarah Blake. And what is she the author of, you might ask? Hushed Up History and many other things. But she's going to be here with us doing some Hushed Up History. So everybody should come in. How are you? Where are you from? And how's the weather? Those are the things that we like to know here at the Signal Network. How you doing, Sarah?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Where are you from and how's the weather?
I am from central New Jersey, which does exist.
Does
It does.
exist.
And to me, it's like a perfect fall night. It's kind of crispy out. It's kind of got that October feel to it. I'm liking it. I'm
Mhm.
liking it.
Yep. And obviously, I also am from New Jersey in the central part, not far from you. So I'm experiencing the same weather. It's pretty nice here. Hey, from PA, what's up? Nice to see you there. Deb Seaton's here. Karen's here.
Hello,
Shelly's here.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, and Pennsylvania's here too, huh? We
Oh,
see you, Pennsylvania. It's okay.
thank you.
So this is Sarah. For anybody who hasn't met her, she has been writing a blog for a very long time called Hushed Up History. And I'm not going to tell you what it's all about. She is. So what's Hushed Up History been about?
Sure. So, Hushed Up History, I started Hushed Up History a little over 10 years. It's almost 11 years old. It'll be 11 years old on Halloween. And the story of Hushed Up History was, I mean, I've always been a lover of history and the strange since I was a little kid. You know, I loved Unsolved Mysteries and Sightings and Beyond Belief and all those shows. But I also loved history. And at the time, I was submitting content to another website that I'm not going to name, but I was submitting content to another website about like strange and unusual places. And I kept finding these stories and I kept submitting them to them. And they were like, we love this, but we can't do anything with it because it's not tied to a location. So I just said, well, then I'm going to do it myself. Is what it is.
Bingo.
So I started Hushed Up History, and what it is it's just stories from all across time and all over the world of these crazy things that are 100% true, not fiction, 100% true, that have happened all over the world, all throughout time. It's all the crazy, fun, unusual stuff that you don't necessarily get to hear about in other places. So I gave them a home.
I love it. And, not only are you an author, and have your stories in other people's publications as well, but you also help run a museum. You want to
I
talk a little
do.
bit about that?
I work at my hometown, their historical society museum. I've worked there for just about as long as I've had Hushed. Actually, it all kind of coincided in a weird way. But yeah, so I work with the collection, records, exhibits, that type of thing.
So Sarah and I have known each other for a little while, and when I was getting to know her, she would talk to me about some of the cool stuff that would come through the museum. What's like something cool that you can remember that you've cataloged and put away at the museum there?
Oh, there's a number of things. One of my favorites though, it's huge. It's this very large poster for a
Mhm.
circus that traveled through town that was found behind the walls when a bagel shop was being renovated.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's got all that really like classic, like vintage, like illustrations on it. It's one of my favorite things. I really love that thing.
That's so awesome. It's funny, that in a way was some hushed up history, right? It was
Yeah,
something that advertised a circus. It got walled up somehow and then it came out again. So that's
just
really
buried
cool.
in a
Almost
bagel
like,
shop.
yeah, of all places. But you know what, New Jersey, we have two things: bagel shops and pizza shops. They're like our
And
carbs.
weird. We got weird too.
We do have a
Got a
lot of
lot of
weird.
weird.
That's true. Let's see. Hi, Jenny Colucci. Nice to see you there. Barbara Boyden's
Hey,
here.
hey.
Deb's here. Wanty World. Jackie, how's
Hello.
everybody doing?
Hey, everybody.
Um, so as
Oh,
everybody's
Jenny,
coming in,
thank you.
please do me a favor, hit the share button down there, share this over to your Facebook feed, into your Instagram, your TikTok even, and let everybody know what we're doing. We're hanging out live with Sarah Blake from Hushed Up History. And so everybody knows, Sarah is one of our creators here on Signal. She hasn't had anything air yet. This is her first go at meeting all of you. So as you come in, make sure you're seeing her channel and you subscribe over there as well. What we want you to do is to know that within about a week or so, we're going to drop off the first Hush Up History episode. And I'm not sure which one it's going to be yet. We were talking a little bit about it. But if you like storytelling with some really cool visual Q's and A's, this is going to be just for you. All right. Oh, and Wawa. We have Wawas. Yes, Jackie, we have
We do.
Wawas.
That's important.
So
It's very important.
So, Sarah, why don't you hold up your book and tell everybody where they can get it?
Hushed Up History, Volume 1. This is my first
And
book
where
of hopefully many to come. It does say Volume 1, so looking at least 3 volumes. It's available at Amazon, Barnes& and Noble. You can reach out at husheduphistory.com. Grab yourself a copy. It's 34 stories.
so there's 34 stories in there, and Sarah's going to read us the first paragraph of a story she's picked out, and then she's going to go over the story with us and talk to us about it. And you guys can get to get a little bit of the hushed up history flavor, as it might be. So, author Sarah, let's have it.
Today, everyone, we are going to have an introduction to the story of Corpse and Corpse, the mystery monster of Arizona. Settle
I'm
in,
hooked
everybody.
already.
Let's go.
Corpse and corpse. Excuse me, is this incorporated? Go on.
Ahem. When Mazu Hastings looked out into his garden, he could not believe what he was seeing. It was huge, lumbering, and definitely did not know it was being watched, which was good news for him, considering what he had heard this beast had already done. It wasn't going to be able to do any more, though. Hastings decided that would be the case when they took out their gun. Walking cautiously out to the body, the shock may have slowly turned to relief. The reign of terror was over. He had killed the Red Ghost. There you
There's
go.
lots to unpack. There's a lot to unpack in that very first paragraph there.
Including that name, Mazu Hastings.
It's like he sounds like a wrestler. Like, watch
I
out
mean, he
for
might have been.
Mazu's
Who knows?
Hastings.
I mean, he sees this monster, and he's like gonna go after it. So, I mean, it's a fitting name, right?
Yeah, he's got to be like a pretty like big dude, right? Ready to take
Yeah,
on the
right.
Red Ghost.
The Red Ghost.
So this, what part of the world did this happen in? Do you know?
Arizona.
Okay, so we're down in Arizona. It's hot and arid, and I'm Mazus, and I'm looking outside, and I see something, and it's big and scary, and I say I'm gonna go get my gun.
I'm gonna go get that. That's a
I'm
good
gonna
idea.
go.
I shouldn't
I'm
just
gonna go
let that
after it.
be. I'm gonna go get it. Yeah, I think that says something about Mazu Hastings.
Terminal says Hastings was a mad player, yo.
He
I think he
was,
was.
but he didn't
So
play. He wasn't taking that.
what's what happens if he goes out and confronts this ghost?
Well, he did what he set out to do. He did kill the Red Ghost.
Okay.
Now, the question is, what was the Red Ghost?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Do we want to know what the Red Ghost was?
Let me take a guess here.
And I do want to say, even if you do get it, if you do guess correctly, there's still a part to it that you probably will not guess.
I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna get this right because I think that it was two coyotes wearing a red trench coat.
No, no,
Not that.
no, no, definitely not.
I gave it my best guess, so I go on.
I mean, it's kind of on the same level of weird, really, when you think about it. I mean, if Warner Brothers has taught me anything, and if the Looney Tunes have bestowed any knowledge on me,
Yes,
so do you
and
want
they
to
have.
know?
That's exactly. Yeah, we want to know.
You
We're
want to
waiting.
know what the Red Ghost was? Well,
Yeah.
first, let me preface this by saying the Red Ghost, when he went out there, he was terrified, and he should have been terrified because this thing had been terrorizing. Let's throw that word in there a couple more times. The landscape for a long time. It had trampled people. It had destroyed land. I mean, this was a legitimate huge fear that people had in this area of this thing that they didn't know what it was. They couldn't figure it out, and they would just see it. The only thing that it would leave behind were huge footprints and tufts of red hair. And that's why it
Not what
became
I.
known as the Red Ghost. What's that?
Not what I thought you were gonna say when you said
Which-
big. I thought you were gonna say poops or something.
No,
I'm.
tracks and red
I'm.
hair. Although it probably did that too, right?
I'm very juvenile. I'm sorry. Go on.
Well, no, when I tell you what it is, you're probably also correct.
I
So the Red
probably am.
Ghost turned out to be. Does anybody in the comments want to guess what this thing was before
Does
I get
anybody
into
know
it?
what this thing could have been? We've ruled out 2 coyotes in a big red trench
It is
coat. That's
not two
out.
coyotes in a trench coat, unfortunately. If it was, I would have still been in the book. I mean,
Let's see. Eileen says Bigfoot. Pebbles says a horse.
no.
Eileen says maybe an ape.
Ape,
Karen says perhaps a
buffalo.
buffalo. Terminal says one hump or two.
I
Was it a
believe it
camel?
was two, and I'll tell you why. Are we ready? The red ghost of Arizona was a camel,
No.
but there was more to this. It was a camel that had a long deceased body tied to it that was
I thought you
riding
were going to
through the
say
desert.
that it was a camel with vampire DNA, and that's why everybody was so afraid of it.
No. Is that
This
better
is,
or worse than the dead guy?
let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If a vampire
Mm-hmm.
bit a camel, would
Yes.
it be a vampire camel then? Would that work?
I say yes.
I like the way you think. So we have a red ghost camel, and he has a dead body tied to him.
Got a body. And there were people that debated whether there was a body. There were people that were like, "No, everybody's nuts. There's not a camel riding around with a dead guy on its back." Then it lost its
Preposterous.
head.
The camel?
And then it was the dead guy. If the camel
Uh-huh.
lost its head and it was a headless camel running around with a dead guy, that would be a whole other thing.
So many
Whole
spins in the
other
story.
thing. Which
So much
also would have
spins.
ended up in here. But a whole other thing. But at one point, the red ghost, this camel, was startled and it darted off and it left behind the guy's head. So then it was like, told you. Told you. Here we go.
Here's
So
Jeff's head. I told
the
you.
red ghost of Arizona terrorized people, and then it was turned out to be a camel.
So did they ever get the camel?
Mazu Hastings took out the
He
camel.
killed it. Yeah, and then they found the body attached to it.
They did not find the body attached to it. The body.
The camel ate it. Vampire camel. Had to be.
That's right. Here we go. See, it all comes together.
Look,
It all
for the
makes
record,
sense, Scott.
anybody
Scott,
watching this?
you just solved the mystery, Scott. That's where the body went. I have to now call Arizona tomorrow and tell them,
Let them
guys,
know.
vampire camel. Hello. Case
Tell
closed. Done.
Tell them. Phantom forensics. I know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Vampire
Phantom
camels.
forensics. All right, where my
There it
phantoms
is.
at? All right.
There
Okay?
it is.
So you know you don't get a
Cross
phantom
that one out
forensic
of the
cat
book.
without knowing.
Solved. Done. We're good here.
Stop. Put a green check next to that one, partner. I don't even have to leave my chair for that one. So a story like that, let me ask you, how do you come across that kind of story? What are we looking for in the world that we're like, dead camel with body? Google.
So
and then the CIA is like, we have a search, dead camel with body. Are we worried about this? And they're like,
we have this person's search history, and it's real weird. You might want to. And then they look at my newspaper, my ancestry, and my newspaper account, and they're like, "What is this person doing?" That's what I'm doing. No worries. So how do I find this stuff?
yeah.
You know, I want to emphasize that none of this is fiction. I'm not making any of this up. So it's not that I'm like creating any of it, or it's all out there. I'm just finding it and hopefully bringing it to a larger audience to enjoy it as much as I do. But I'm constantly finding these stories. It's internet, other books, just looking through titles of things and seeing that random book that somebody wrote about. Oh, what is that? TV programming, ghost tours, and his tours to historical sites. Obviously, I'm a historian, I work at a museum, but I always emphasize to people, if you go anywhere, or even in your local town, your local museum, your local historical site, take tours. talk to tour guides. They are a wealth of information and stories that you probably don't know about. And then, a lot of times, because I put a lot of effort into finding things from all over the world and across all time frames, from ancient times all the way up. And you can look up just by state, just odd stories by state or time frame. They're all out there. They just want to be found. So that's what I try to do is I dig through. And it's been a huge help with like social media now coming out. You'll have a lot of pages of unusual stories, or you'll see the one shot picture with like a little factoid on it. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. What is that all about? So you go and research it. It's all there to be found. I just want to find it and bring it to people and give it the audience that it deserves, because it all deserves it. These are great stories, and great stories want an audience.
I agree with that, and that's part of the thing that we love at the Signal Network. Obviously, we love researching, we love finding out what the truth is behind the history that helps us prove the paranormal stuff that we're looking at, right? From one aspect, right?
Yeah.
So when we have folks like you who are true historians and always looking for the truth, sometimes when people like me, mediums, walks into a space and says something crazy, it takes somebody good like you to do the research to either prove or disprove what I've said.
To
So I
go
love having
that
a good
crazy
historian,
is true.
and that's
that
what I
is
really
that
like.
is true crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Beyond the Badge Paranormal may have had a liter or two of Jack and Cokes because they said they're tripping big time watching my lights.
Oh, the
Um,
disco in the back,
yeah, well, I like to party.
the signal
Oh, did
disco.
somebody say hi to Lourdes? Hi, everybody. Nice to see you there. Welcome in. I'm Scott. I'm a medium and psychic. We're hanging out here on the
Hey,
Signal Network, and
Lourdes.
we're hanging out with our friend Sarah Blake, author, historian, all around cool
Weirdo.
person. And next week, we're going to drop the first video of Hushed Up History. I can't wait for y'all to see it. I don't like to make comparisons, but if you like Mr. Ballin here on YouTube, you're going to love Sarah. And one of the things I was thinking about this a lot, because I keep bringing his name up when we talk, because there's a lot of good similarities. Sarah actually researches the stories and knows them inside and out, and they're very special. So it's not just like stories pulled from the internet and just read, which is really a lot different.
Oh
So
yeah, no,
um,
I'm glad you brought that up. I thank you for bringing that up, because that is something that I do in the book, and everything that I put on the website, write in the book, put on my TikToks. They're all written like I take the information and I write them in a very storytelling type of way. So I don't want anybody to
accusatory.
think that I'm just like, here's some facts, figure it out. No, I want to wrap this up in a fantastic package and give it to people, because they're little gifts. They're wonderful little stories. So I want them to be entertaining. I want people to enjoy them. And I want people to be like, do you remember that thing? Did you, right? Crazy.
Yep. So in let's just talk about, because we're from New Jersey. Let's talk about some of the strange stuff that we've discovered. But I'm going to start with you. Is there any cool stuff here in New Jersey that's like hushed up history style that you'd want to like talk about?
Well,
Well,
and I say this with 100, this is a 100% not sarcastic. I'm not like stretching this in any way, shape, or form. I will tell you 100% Hushed Up History would not, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Hushed Up History would not exist if it wasn't for a night that I learned about the wreck of the Morro Castle in Asbury Park.
wreck of the Morro Castle. This is
The
cool.
Morro Castle.
It's not
That
cool that
is
it
one
happened, but
of my nearest and dearest stories. I love the story of the Morro Castle, and really, when I say that, it was me finding out about that wreck that made me start going like, there is so much. Like, how did I live so close to this and I've never heard of it? This should be told. So
yep,
my favorite historical tale from Jersey, hands down, is the wreck of the Morro Castle.
yeah. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about what that is? Because they're probably not from here.
Oh, so the wreck of the Morro Castle. So in September of 1934, there was a. You see how I almost went into video voice when I did that? In September of
Yep.
1934.
1987. Billy Joe is
1934.
on top of the
There
charts.
was a cruise ship that was returning from Havana to New York, and when I tell you that everything that happened to this ship, if you wrote it in a book and presented it to someone, they would say this is too unbelievable. Nobody's going to believe this actually happened. Within a night, within 24 hours, the captain was found dead. A fire destroyed the ship. The ship was rescued, put on a tow line. There was a hurricane in front of it and behind it. It was being towed. The tow line snapped. And how it ended up in Asbury Park was after a tow line snapped, it just floated aimlessly into this storm on fire in the middle of the night, and a radio operator in Asbury Park who was broadcasting from Convention Hall, he was on air doing his nightly thing. He had heard about this very tragic wreck, so he was reporting the news. And then out of the darkness comes this huge glowing mass of fire, and it beached itself in Asbury Park. But there is so much more to this story, including how the fire originated. It is widely believed that it was intentional, set by a
Interesting.
crew member that has a whole crazy backstory, all on his own. That put him. He ended up dying in jail, not for the Morro Castle. He was never tried for the Morro Castle, but after the Morro Castle, he did a lot of things that, kind of built up the case against him, that like this guy's
Mhm.
doing that, he totally did that. And he ended up dying in prison, never being held responsible for it. But crazy story, that is one of the ones that I put in here because I had to. My near and dear story. But
Yeah.
it is if you just look up Morro Castle and look up some of the details of what happened to it, it's unbelievable. It reads like fiction that people would say was too dramatic. No way was this
So
real.
So for the folks who aren't from here, I can tell you this: if you go to Asbury Park, New Jersey, home of Bruce Springsteen and much other good music culture, you can go into some of the shops and you'll see postcards with the Morro Castle ship
Yeah,
beached up against the surf in Sandy Hook, and it's really crazy because to this
yeah,
day you can still walk out to that part of the boardwalk and the beach, and if you
yeah.
can just think about what it might look like to see a cruise liner on fire,
A
and then
shell of it.
eventually it just rotted away, until they
Yeah.
finally got somebody in there, like, years later, I think it was, right? To, like, clean it
Well,
out.
that was another crazy part of it. Once it kind of situated itself there on the beach, it became a tourist attraction. There
Yeah.
were lines and lines. People were piling into Asbury Park, and they were able to walk out and touch it. People were taking pieces of it home with them. So that's why if you look it up, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos of this ship because it sat there. It was taken away. It was scrapped in March of the following year. But
Okay.
until then, people could just walk out, touch it, take pieces of it. It was just there. And
Yeah,
it's
it's so
wild
cool.
because most of them you'll just see this burned out wreck of a cruise ship, and here's Convention Hall right next to it.
Yeah, it's
It's
right
such
there.
a weird kind of juxtaposition of it, but it's really wild, the photos that
And,
came out of it.
about how many people passed because of that?
Approximately 137, 138, somewhere in
So,
there.
I have some friends that work in convention hall, and they think that some of the spirits from the ship actually haunt the building. What do you think about
100%.
that? Yeah?
I believe that 100%. The building was used as a temporary morgue. When they were taking people off of the ship, they were bringing them into that building.
Okay.
I believe it was the what is today the Paramount
Yeah.
Theater, had people there to be identified and whatnot.
This is funny. I didn't know that at all, but I've been in there and gotten the heebie-jeebies so many times. Even in a crowd of people, I'm like, get that chill up my spine. I'm like, I can't possibly be feeling ghost stuff in here. So many people, and I'm intoxicated.
Yeah, you
But
can.
I guess it left a pretty good mark. So, it's really cool. So where people are, in their neck of the woods, how would you tell them to find some of their own hushed up history? What would you tell them to look for?
Well, I mean, if you are a town that has a local museum or has tour guides or anything like that in the area, absolutely talk to these people. Historians love telling people the crazy stuff and spreading the information. If not that, simple internet searches. If you happen to have a subscription to some of these services that let you see old newspapers or local archives, libraries, it's all out there to be found. You just got to look for it and ask people. People want to share these things. So if you ask
You
for them,
sure do.
you'll get information.
Yeah, you sure
If
will.
you're in a very old town where there's like there's a museum, there's a historical site, if there's people that have had like generations of their families living in the same town, talk to them, ask their stories, see what happened.
Yeah, you'd be really surprised what people want to share with you, especially when it does come to their family history. Somebody here at my kids' school, they know I like all the paranormal and the history of the town. So the lady was just telling me that her grandfather set up like one of the first little settlements here in town, and she had this old wooden sign that survived a very long time, like over 100 years. And it's just a sign that commemorates where it was at that time, right? And she just has it in her basement, and she's like, what do you
Just
think?
has
And
it.
I'm like, that's awesome. Like, that's so
Yeah,
cool. So somebody painted that and said, this is such and such hill in Middletown. And then
so cool.
you have it. So it's a piece of history, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
History,
it
I
was probably
mean,
just like,
these physical, tangible pieces are so cool. And like you said, so many of them are just in people's homes. Like
yeah,
like you just said, like you have a piece from the founding of a town. Just here it is, no big deal. It's
yeah,
fine.
no big deal. And I said you should take a picture of it and show it off at the town hall museum. It's pretty neat. So also we have in our town this lady. I had to investigate her house, not because it was actively haunted, but she wanted to make sure that if she removed this house that was on her property, that it wouldn't stir up the spirits. So I had to go to her house, and when I asked her why she thought that might happen, she said because the house is built on a foundation that's predates the Revolutionary War. So her family has owned this property for a very long time, and she wanted to make sure she wasn't going to upset any of her ancestors, the people there.
I
So
mean,
I had to
that's
go and pre.
considerate, right?
Yeah, it really was. And of course,
Yeah.
I didn't get any response from anybody. Nobody was overly upset that this 150-year-old, house was going to be taken down. But it was really nice of her to ask. And what was cool was I
Yeah.
got to see this wall that human beings from 200 years ago put up, and it's
Yeah.
still standing today. It's really neat to see that kind of stuff.
Built with their own hands and their own effort and still there.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
So when you do your hushed up history stories, what is your favorite kind of story? Do you like the macabre? Do you like the spooky? Do you like the head scratcher? What's your favorite kind?
I love the spooky stuff. I do. Like like I said, since I was little, I've loved all the spooky stuff. Watching, like I had said, unsolved mysteries, sightings beyond belief, all those crazy things. Um, I love the spooky stuff, and I'm a big believer that history and the paranormal should be really good friends together,
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people, if they're not really involved or into the paranormal, they write off spooky stories real easily, just like, oh, ghost stories, whatever. And it's like,
yeah,
no, guys, like there's backing to this. Like there's a historical background to this crazy stuff happening. And then it becomes more real, much more real. And then, depending on your views on the paranormal, you may have to start reevaluating some of your opinions, or at the very least, understanding that this thing that you might consider just this fanciful little story to tell around a campfire at night, it has a real foundation. It has an
yeah.
actual backing to it of actual factual information. But I love the spooky, the weird, the crazy. Those are my favorite things. The more like what? The more I love it. And I think that's part of the reason why I love the story of the Mora Castle so much. I'm also I'm really, really a big fan of like maritime disasters,
So
because
shipwrecks, you
sure.
like hearing about people drowned? You like when
Yeah,
the Kraken takes somebody down a
just
Davy
casual
Crocker's
conversation about
oven?
boats and, But I think that's part of the reason that the story of the Moral Castle stuck out to me so much, is because it was so shocking and so crazy, and there were so many things that were so unbelievable about it. So those are really my favorite things. The real spooky, paranormal, creepy, send a shiver, and the things that are just absolutely unbelievably just, how is this real?
How could this be real? Right, like Hollywood
How is this
legend,
real?
right? So, when it comes to hushed up history, is there like if I could drop you off in a location where a story happened, aside from the Moral Castle, because you can do that yourself, is there a place that you would like to investigate based on the story that you've read and told?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many. Off the top of my head, let me think. I don't
Hmm,
know. The top of my
deep
head.
in
That's a
thought.
hard question.
It is, I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to
That's o
get you with it. I thought you would
that's
have been like,
okay.
yes,
Yes,
because
I
I'm gonna
have
go looking.
14 things that I've curated in this list of li
So I would like to go, and for people who are going to stay here and they're going to watch the show next week, you and I talked about one of the first episodes that you put together about a haunted mansion, and even though I can tell you that with no spoiler alert, the mansion doesn't exist anymore, I would still give a pinky toe to go to the area where the mansion used to be to start investigating what's there now because
Oh,
the
yeah.
level of paranormal activity that was reported, there's got to be
Yeah.
something to it.
And
And I
in
can't.
the material that I was digging through for writing it, one of the things I found was a more recent article. It was just printed as an online article where they talked to people who live in that area, and the people they talked to are still like, "Oh yeah, no, there's something here. There's something going on here. We still experience things absolutely 100%." So even though the building is gone, and it was so long ago, that imprint, there's still something hanging out there that people are still experiencing today.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I can't wait for everybody to hear that story in full. Sarah did a wonderful job. What's the right word? She did a wonderful job recording the video and getting the story out properly. Obviously, this is why she does it and not me, because I can't memorize things and speak to you. I'm too dumb. So yeah, it's a really neat story. I can't wait for everybody to hear it. In the meantime, let's talk real quick about this. So October 25th, everybody, if you're watching this, if you live in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, October 25th, I'm going to be with Chris Mendez, who's one of our other creators, and he's going to be premiering his first video about the haunted Huntington 5 Theater in Huntington, PA. It's a really cool place. It's very haunted. We recorded a video there with our friends John Austin and Paranormal Haunted Hammy and some other investigators. And Chris did a wonderful job putting this video together. He's so kind. He's giving it to us here on Signal Network. But here's where the fun thing is. On Signal Network, we want to bring our fans out with us to hang out and do things with us because it's more than just this. It's getting to meet us and to know us in person. So, if you want to come out to Huntington, PA, October 25th, you can come to this beautiful old historic movie theater. You can sit and watch the movie live with the investigators, including myself, Chris. I believe Sean is going to be there and Haunted Hammy. And then after we watch all the crazy stuff that we caught in the history, we're going to ghost hunt in that very theater. So if you're interested in that, I will put a link in the description of this video when we're done, and you can go and purchase tickets. It's not very expensive. Just come out and hang out with us. It's gonna be a really good time. It's a college town. There's lots of good food in the area, so you can come out, have a nice time, come and watch the premiere of the movie, and then come investigate with us. And if you can't do that, it's okay because we are going to also premiere the show right here on YouTube for you guys. So even if you can't come to, and then if you can't come, because I don't want to forget, part of Signal Network is live broadcasting. So we're also going to live stream parts of the investigation from the theater. So even if you can't come and hang out with us in person, guess what? You can hang out with us right here. So we're we're bringing it all, and that's a lot of fun. Sorry about taking some of
So
that time, sir.
cool.
I had to get a
You're
commercial out.
good. You're talking about an amazing old historic theater and all of the stuff. It's perfect.
So I don't know what you're doing the 25th, but I put in our group chat that if you guys can make it out, you got to come out. It would be a lot of fun. It's Huntington, PA,
Okay.
is where it's at. That's where the location is. So if anybody's interested, it's a lot of fun out there. It's the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. They have caves in the area. It's a really great place. I'll drop a link into the description of the video when we're done. Okay, Eileen? That way you can check it out. All right. So Oh man. So Sarah and I have bonded many times over the paranormal and the spooky things that have happened. Let's talk a little bit about ghosts because Halloween is coming. So
Sure.
Sarah Sarah also she dabbles in the paranormal and some other things. So a question somebody asked me the other day was, do you think that the veil is thinning around this time of year and making it easier to communicate with spirits and ghosts?
So, yes, but my I have questioned if the reason for that is because so many people are putting that thought out there to make that happen.
That's what I
That
think.
that is my question, because this time of year, you know, I've seen it in the comments too. The veil is thin, and that's something that it has it's a phrase that has gotten more and more popular as time has gone on, and it's happened kind of at the same time that more and more people have started getting into the paranormal and ghosts and are this happening. You put that in with the whole spirit of October. So, I mean, do I believe that could be the case? Yeah, absolutely. But I do think that there is a human component to that, that we've all kind of used our energy to kind of bring that to life more and more and more.
Yeah, I think so. And in the paranormal, we call maybe not that phenomenon, but creating a paranormal phenomenon or an entity is called a tulpa. So if enough of us are putting our energy into thinking about the paranormal, the spooky, the afterlife at a certain time of year, it might reason that we are thinning that veil ourselves because of what's going on. And then I tell people it usually lasts until around the first week of January, and then it seems to thicken back up because all the spiritual and family stuff is all done, and we're done being close with each other, and then we're like back to bah humbug, and we don't want to see nobody because we got to recharge and go back and work overtime to pay the credit cards off from Christmas.
I mean, like,
So
for for centuries, the spirit of telling ghost stories and spirits being close didn't end on November 1st. Back in the Victorian age, they would gather around for Christmas and in December and tell ghost stories and have a lot of these like traditions involving the spirit and the spirit world. So it is something that it wasn't like, oh, November 1st, ghosts are gone. Like, this is something that people practiced and believed in for this whole last period of the year. So you saying that you feel like it kind of wanes down in January, that makes sense.
yeah, that seems to be when for me. That's when I feel like going back, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I
Okay.
guess people are like done being so comfy cozy with each other, so it kind of
Yeah.
makes sense. So in the world of the paranormal, do you have any kind of like strange incidences that have happened that you'd like to talk about? Because I know we like to talk about that here on our channel.
Okay. Well, I mean, where? Because there's been
Anywhere.
experiences out, anywhere. There's my house has had a ton of things happen just in the home where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had lots of stuff. Like I mentioned, Um, my house has a very long history. The house is over 100 years old, and there have been, you've seen shadows creeping around the corner. Things have moved. I've had things caught on some of my cameras in the basement of shapes moving through the room. We've heard voices. There's been a lot just in this house that I've experienced just living here. As far as outside of my house, uh, one of my favorite places in the world is the Shanley Hotel. I've
Yep.
experienced a lot of things there that are incredibly memorable, and that I'm super super grateful that I was able to experience there. Had some experiences at places that are, now really well known, like Penhurst, Eastern State Penitentiary, some of these like real like well known paranormal places. But yeah, I've had a lot of experiences, and I've absolutely loved every single one of them.
Is there a chance that you'd like to share the story about your house and the cabinets? Because
Sure.
this one actually made my hair stand up when you told it to me, so I think the
I
audience
you
would
know,
like
I'm
it.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because like, just thinking about all the stuff in the house, that didn't even enter
That's
my mind.
You've told me quite a few things, and that one
Yeah.
stood out to me a lot.
So there was some random night, some late night, I was in the basement either doing laundry or whatever. I don't know. I was in my basement and I walked up my basement steps. And the way the house is built, it's you walk up the basement steps and you open the door directly into the kitchen. And and it's not like a tall staircase, but halfway up the steps, it felt like the best way I can describe it is if you walked through an electrified spider web. It was just this head to toe, like, ooh, feeling in on the steps. And having lived in this house for so long and having had so many things happen, I just was like, all right, just another weird thing. All right, cool. And I open the door and look out into my kitchen. And this is late. This is like probably 2 a.m., somewhere in there, 1 to 2 a.m. And I didn't notice it at first because all the lights were out. But I kind of open the door and I'm looking down. And when I look up, all of my kitchen cabinets are wide open. Wide
So
open.
scary.
And
And
like
to
I wanna,
preface, she
emphasize
lives
like these are high cabinets. Like it's not something where like a cat could have like opened it
right.
or anything like that. And this is
And you
also
only live
a
with
house
one
where
other adult. You only
yes,
live that's important. Only one
yes,
other adult lives with you.
yes. And another thing about this house is you hear everything in this house. You hear absolutely anything. Any slight footstep, creak, anything, you will hear it somewhere in this house. Not a sound. Not a sound. Nothing. Just walked up the stairs, opened the door, cabinets are all
Well,
open.
people pay good money for that kind of paranormal activity to happen when they're out on adventures. You get it for free at home because you thought somebody
Yeah.
in the house was looking for a late night snack.
Right? Like, at least close the cabinets.
Term says it's debatable if I'm an adult. Touche. Um, so I think that is really neat. So when it comes to the paranormal and the hushed up history, the thing that you do the most and the best, um, how often do you find there is a correlation between the history of a place and the paranormal activity that's occurring?
Oh, often. Often. I mean, what is a haunting? A haunting is a piece of history actively taking place in front of you.
Okay.
So there's always some type something. It might not be the near past. You might have to go back centuries and centuries and centuries, but more often than not, there's a link there. There's a link between something happening and something that has happened in the past.
Yeah. So we're gonna go off onto a little bit of an interesting question here because I like to get everybody's thought on this. I talked to Dave Schrader a lot about ghosts and time anomalies, and something that we like to think about a lot is time stacked on top of each other somehow. Um, what do you think? Do you think that there is energy that is living forward in the timeline from history, or is there a possibility that history is just stacking itself and we're just sort of experiencing it?
I think it's case by case basis. I think it's really hard with the paranormal to apply like a blanket rule to things. We see you see actually in like in old like rock formations, you literally see history stacking on top of each other. So I do
Yes.
think that is something that happens, but I think it's really hard to say definitively this is how this works. I think it's really a case by case basis. I do think that there are places where the energy has imprinted so heavily on that place, like it's like a ball of clay. If you stick your thumb in it, depending
Yep.
how deep, that's the impression that's left. Like things like that. I think there's a whole lot to be discovered about this,
Sure.
about how time and how past events imprint on present, on future, things of that nature. But I think it's really hard to give like a blanket cause to any of it because I think it is so unique and so individual. Each instance, each phenomena, each experience.
Very well said. I like that. That was a very good explanation. I kind of put you on the spot and you had an answer. I like it. So Sarah, tell everybody again, show them your book and tell them where they can get it, please.
Hushed Up History Volume 1. This is first book, volume 1. I'm looking at least 3 volumes, but for right now, we have Hushed Up History Volume 1. It is 34 stories of the strange, the unusual, and I always try to cover all the bases. So there are some animal stories, there's some uplifting stories, there's some stories of human resilience mixed in with all that crazy and weird and spooky and disastrous. There's 34 of them in here. It's about 200 pages long, nice, perfect size to carry, and it's available at Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Just look up Hushed Up History and you'll find her book. Go get it. Pick it up. Show some support for somebody who's been doing this for so long. And, while you're reading her book, you can think about the fact that here on the Signal Network, she's agreed to put her books in story form in video so that you can all listen to her tell the stories that she's written about and she loves so much. And it's not just stories from the book, it's stories from other places, things that she hasn't written about. And when I asked her, I said, Sarah, do you think you have enough stories to do like a couple episodes? And she laughed and then became she despondent and then cackled, took a deep breath and laughed again. And she said, I could do this until the day that I die and there'd still be more.
It's
So
true.
that
Yeah,
was a
I do
really
wanna
good
I do wanna
response.
point that out that you said that, and it is a good point to make. The majority of the stories that I am giving you and Signal do not appear anywhere else. They're not in my book, they're not on my blog, they're not on my TikTok, there's nowhere else. It's just for you guys.
See that? And by the way, everybody, if you'd like to find Sarah on her other social medias and keep up with her, it's just look up Hushed Up History. She owns that across the board on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And so
All
if
over
you,
the
you look
place.
that up, you'll find her there. Okay. Yeah, so definitely go look for that. So before we wrap it up today, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about?
Just I'm so excited to be able to share these stories with you guys. I'm so grateful to Signal for allowing me to do this. I'm
Our
so
pleasure.
excited to be able to share these stories with everybody. Like I had said previously, history is great stories, and who doesn't love great stories? And the goal that I had when I started Hushed Up History so many years ago was to give a home to these amazing stories and give them the attention that they deserve, because they are just great stories. So to be able to do that and to give you guys these crazy things that I've been finding, it's so exciting, and I'm so happy about it.
Thank you very much for being here with us. We know that you have a special home here at Signal Network, and I know that our audience is going to love your stories. Again, we're going to drop the first video of Hush Up History next week. This is Sarah. This is who you're supporting when you watch our videos. And remember, everybody, if you haven't yet, please do us a favor. We have lots of videos available for you already here on Signal Network. Go back into the catalog if you're looking for ghost hunting, if you're looking for intelligent conversations like this one, we have that. If you're looking for a podcast, we have Robert Heskey's Afraid of Nothing podcast available for you. That comes out every Sunday. And we just have a lot of amazing creators that we're working with. And we
There is
appreciate,
so much good stuff.
yeah.
There's
And there's
just
more to
so
come.
much good
There's
stuff.
more
It's
to
great.
come. Maybe there's more to come. I can't wait. There's so many good things happening here. And that's because of all of our viewership giving us the boosts that we need. So again, everybody, do me a favor. Go to either husheduphistory.com, Amazon, or over to Barnes and Noble. Look up Hushed Up History and order your copy of that book today. Start to get to know what Sarah's about. And then when the videos start coming out, you can sit down like you're hanging out with an old friend and she's telling you cool stories. All right.
Can't wait.
Um, with that, I'm going to say goodnight. I got to go get ready for my other job, which is not as fun as this one, unfortunately. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. I know Jay knows what movie that is. All right, everybody. Good night, Sarah. Thanks for sitting with us. I appreciate you. Can't wait to
Thank
get that
you.
first video up. And for everybody who hung out with us this whole time, I appreciate you. Have a great night. Scott and Sarah saying, Pasta luego, amigos.
Bye.